Go on. Do it. Do it even if you don't want to do it. Do it 'cause I'm telling you to do it. 'Cause your chick's eyes are telling you. Look at her. Now go on. Go, 'cause you know when I say go, you know you're gonna go. You know if you don't, they're all gonna laugh at you. Keep on. Go. More chicken. Why you waiting? You're not gonna not do what I say. No. You know. I know that in a few minutes it's gonna be done, and everybody will know, but they won't know why. So you just keep moving. Keep going. You're gonna make history, and people gonna talk about you for a long time. And I'm gonna hear that talk, and I'm gonna live on it, and get fat on their talk. Listen, chicken, they're gabbling already. They're talking already. And you're starting to love it, too. Come on, chicken. You're almost famous. Go! Go, chicken. You can do it. You gotta do it. You gotta. Come on, chicken. Chicken, you did it. And I didn't really think you'd go. I thought you'd fall over dead. I knew you'd start, but I didn't think you'd go all the way. And I'm proud of you. And now the world's gonna wonder till the end of time. Why? What would possess a chicken like you? And nobody will know. You know. And you can't ever say, and I know, and I won't ever tell. And the mystery of all eternity will remain unsolved. And I made you do it. 1,000,000 years from now, little kids are gonna ask their mothers why. And chicks gonna ask their daddies why. And the daddies ain't gonna have nobody to ask why. Why did the chicken cross the road? I'm wet and muddy and hungry and cold, and 50,000 light years from home. A strange blue sun gives light and gravity, twice what I'm used to, and makes every movement difficult. But in tens of thousands of years, this part of war hasn't changed. The flyboys are fine with their sleek spaceships and their fancy weapons. When the chips are down, though, it's still the foot soldier, the infantry that has to take the ground and hold it, foot by bloody foot. Like this damn planet of a star I'd never heard of until they landed me here. And now it's sacred ground because the aliens are here too. The aliens, the only other intelligent race in the galaxy. Cruel, hideous, repulsive monsters. Contact had been made with them near the center of the galaxy after the slow, difficult colonization of 12,000 planets. It had been war at sight. Now, planet after bitter planet is being fought out. And me wet, muddy and hungry and cold, and the day raw with a high wind that hurts my eyes. But the aliens are trying to infiltrate, and every sentry post is vital. So I stay alert, gun ready, 50,000 light years from home, fighting on a strange world. and wondering if I'll live to see home again. Then I hear it first. Then I see one of them crawling toward me. I draw a bead and fire. He makes that strange, horrible sound they all make. And I shudder at the sound and sight of the alien lying there. I ought to be able to get used to them after a while, but I won't. I never will be able to. Repulsive creatures with only 2 arms and 2 legs, ghastly white skins, and no scales. I can almost remember being born at night. Everything I remember is part of the night. It's dark or black. Sometimes it's wet. Sometimes it's heavy or horribly lonely. And always it's good. Good at the start, and later, completely opposite. No in-betweens. There's a split second where it changes from glorious, thrilling adventure to horrible despair. I know this will come, but now it's everything I want it to be. The feeling I imagined when young that strong drink could bring. The feeling of some exotic drug, or even a magic potion. It's even magic, unbelievable magic, because I don't think of later. I become part of the night, part of the time when others sleep, in beautiful innocence, funny, stupid innocence. It gives me pause. It gives me pride. There are times when I can be near people and stand it because I must be near them. It's a way of existence, and I must not cease to exist. I mean no harm, although at times I think the thing I seek is near when I stalk and follow and play cat and mouse. I hate cars. I was in a car once a long time ago when it became a tangled mass of hot, flaming human error. The car died. I did not. And other cars know it, and their headlights in the dark point at me. Shine at most unexpected moments from cars that are still in black, and shoot around corners with screaming tires and ear-splitting horns and laughing people. This is how the night passes. Sometimes dangerous, frightful, fast, and sometimes peaceful and soft and quiet. Always exhilarating. Until the night becomes dawn, and I hate the very memory of it, and want not to go out when the next night comes, swearing I won't, and suspecting I will, wondering if when I get to the place referred to as home, there will be that one person who is bearable, with the usual words, and the usual expectant smile, and the half-hopeful look that maybe I'll speak to her. Can't you just imagine what she'd do if I did come back with some snappy reply to, "And where has Mama's naughty kitty been all night?" I can remember back to the way it was when I first suspected that I was changing, when I knew that I wanted to change, and was completely elated at the thought of becoming what I had always wanted to be. From the time I was very young, I hated my drab existence and wished that I'd been born different and could grow more beautiful with time instead of growing more unhappy with the body that biology had bestowed upon me. As I matured, I came to know what the feelings meant. When I envied the pretty dress of one, or the lace adornment of another, the beautiful colors that I was denied? Why? For a short time, I thought about disguising my appearance. Impersonation, other vestments. I acquired a fur, but I could only pretend and return to knowing what I was, what I didn't want to be. I almost willed the change, thought about regrets later, and knew I'd never have regrets. In my prayers now, I thank the one who worked the miracle and changed me completely so that I can never go back. And I'm happy now, for the first time in my life. I don't have to be afraid of only pretending to have changed. I thrill to the words I hear. Pretty, lovely, fragile, beautiful. Women turn to look as I go by, and I'm conscious of a man's eyes when he watches me move and dance. I feel now that I've taken my rightful place. I have a sense of fulfillment, except for one thing. I want more than anything else to know what butter has to do with it all. Being called caterpillar was strange enough. But why butterfly?
Turn him down, Mac? No, we're gonna sit up here. I feel like talking. What do you think, huh? You think you turn these guys down a little bit?
Yeah, I like that's better. My name's Vron, and I guess your name's Mac. I never met a bartender anywhere whose name wasn't Mac. And this is Drina. And as long as you don't dig what I'm telling you, I'm gonna let you in on a very funny story. We come from the 22nd century, so far back you don't know what I'm talking about. It was then that mankind found us out, discovered that the legend of vampires living secretly among humans was not a legend at all, but fact. The feds had rounded up and tried and executed every vampire but two, Drina and me. And if you think you see terror in her eyes, you wait till I tell you about a hunger like man you'll never know. Well, I'd been working on a time machine, and we ducked the whole bit. We got away to here, far enough into the future that the very word vampire would be forgotten, and we could live and regenerate. We stopped on the way. A person gets hungry. We stopped 4 times to be exact, and narrowly escaped dying each time. We'd not been forgotten. 500,000 years back, the last stop, you couldn't recognize what had once been people. There was nothing to them. We did manage to feed on the blood of a dog till the other hounds chased us back into the time machine and into flight again. Just half an hour ago, Drina thanks me for stopping. Wasn't nothing I could do. No more snill in the tank. This was the end of the line. This is where we live. Or else. We step out to scout around and see your friend walking toward us. Well preserved, I might add. An entirely new creature. No dogs, no people. We knew we'd been forgotten. It, the creature, your withered friend, reads our thoughts, and we receive its voice inside our brains. Know what it said? It said, "You are wondering whether we know vampires, whatever they are. We do not." Drina can't wait. She's always hungry, this one. She's murmuring something about freedom and food when creature starts in again. and makes with the bit, you also wonder about my origin and evolution. And he bows low to us. I, a member of the dominant race, was once what you called a turnip.
It isn't enough I gotta be on duty 24 hours a day. It isn't enough I gotta walk Boot Hill time after time. Eat slop with Doc when I'm not even hungry. Work with red-eyed soreheads that stayed up too late the night before and got nothing to offer in the morning but complaints of bad tastes and low pay. The women as ill-tempered as the men. And what's the sense of them throwing kitty at me the way they do? They know nothing can never come of it. It ain't right. It ain't never gonna be legal like between the two of us. Then like clockwork, some fool comes along who figures he's gonna make a big name and gun down a famous marshal. And I spend endless nights lying awake thinking of another proud young look on a strong, sharp-cut face that suddenly turns to shock and fear when he knows my .45 slug is ripping the last split second of life out of him. He never even gets a firm grip on his own gun handle. I read his face, and it says everything all the others say about turning time back and wishing he hadn't tried and praying it wasn't really happening. I add up the hours and the endless surge of bad actors and the same thing over and over, and on top of it all, I know that Beaver's gonna look up any minute, and if he says it again, so help me!
Mr. Harness, sir, how's come you don't never let me go to Mike Romanoff's near the Brown Derby with you come lunch break? All I ever gets is foul black cold coffee and beans we use on the set, Mr. Harness. Mr. James Garner and Mr. Ephraim Zimbalist Jr. also lets their loyal sidekicks go out for French dip sandwiches and crab louis, Mr. Harness. But old Menace, Mr. Harness, sir, just gets...
Shut up, Menace!
Beans and foul black...
Beaver, shut up!
You shouldn't have tried to draw on me, Mr. Harness. Sir? I was between cases and living a somewhat normal existence, like sleeping when it's dark, driving on busy streets instead of deserted streets, doing routine things that day people do and some things they don't. This particular day, everything was neatly scheduled. Renew my private operator's license, renew my supply of .38 caliber missiles of persuasion, and replace my favorite necktie, which the lieutenant had removed from around my neck just in time and entered as evidence in the caper that was now all over. So all this is why I was out at such a ridiculous time in the morning, why I happened to be exactly where I was, and why I spotted her, the lady in green. She was standing on the corner of Market and Exchange Street, and she was a doll. I hadn't worked too late last night. I didn't have any big client or important things going, so I not only felt pretty good, but I had some time on my hands. So I stopped. She was looking me right in the eye, like she knew what I had in mind, and she was so right. Maybe it would start with lunch, and then a drive way out in the country, so we could watch the cows come home. Dinner at a little place I knew on a back road. A show, the works for her. She had the combination that it took to hook a guy good. The smiling eyes and the chin that tilted just right, and a funny little sparkle that goes with the knowledge that she's gonna get you for all you've got and you don't care. This hadn't happened to me for a long time. A week. So when the lady in green smiled, I went all the way. I bought 6 boxes of Girl Scout cookies. See, she was 10 years old, and she was a lady. I know, because when she took my last buck, I heard her say,
"Thank you, Daddy."
Imagine ghosts, gods, and devils. Imagine hells and heavens, cities floating in the sky, and cities sunken in the sea. Imagine unicorns and centaurs, witches, warlocks, jinns and banshees, angels and harpies, charms and incantations, elementals, familiars, demons. Easy to imagine all of those things. Mankind has been imagining them for thousands of years. Imagine starships and the future. Easy to imagine. The future is really coming, and there'll be such things in it. Is there then anything that's hard to imagine? Of course there is. Imagine a piece of matter and yourself inside it, yourself aware, thinking, and therefore knowing you exist, able to move that piece of matter that you're in, to make it sleep or wake, make love, or walk uphill. Imagine a universe, infinite or not, as you wish to picture it, with a billion suns in it. Imagine a blob of mud whirling around one of those suns. Imagine yourself standing on that blob of mud, whirling with it, whirling through time and space to an unknown destination. Imagine. My beloved wife had just returned from a trip to Haiti, a trip she'd taken alone to give us a cooling-off period before we discussed a divorce. It hadn't worked. Neither of us had cooled off in the slightest. In fact, we soon found out that we hated one another more than ever. She very firmly stated that she'd not settle for anything less than half the money plus half the property. Ridiculous. But she didn't think so. She stood there half smiling, half hoping that I'd keep on disagreeing, and advised me that she could have it all, and quite easily. Then came the part about the voodoo. She'd actually studied voodoo in Haiti. Well, I did keep on disagreeing. Rot! That's what I said, rot! She turned off the smile. She was really convinced about this voodoo thing, told me that I should be glad that she was really a good woman, for she could quite easily kill me if she so desired. She repeated that she could then have all the money and all the real estate, and without any fear of consequences. You've read about it. A death accomplished by voodoo cannot be distinguished from a death by heart failure. My retort to this was an additional rot, a ridiculous, and a rubbish thrown in. She was beginning to fume. She plunged her hand into the depths of her purse and withdrew a ball of wax and a hatpin. She asked for some of my hair or a fingernail clipping or two. That's all she needed. She was going to do it. Show me. This was nonsense. Then she accused me of being afraid to have her try. She claimed she knew it worked and came up with the proposition. This was my wife, and she spit the words out like some female devil. If it doesn't kill you, she said, I'll give you a divorce and ask nothing. If it does, I'll get it all, automatically. That's the way she said it, word for word. Done. I agreed. I glanced at my nails. Pretty short. I left the room for a moment and came back with a few short strands of hair. She had already softened the wax. She kneaded the hair into it. I couldn't believe it. She shaped it into a rough effigy of a human being, said, "You will be sorry," and thrust the hatpin into the chest of the wax figure. I was surprised, but more pleased than sorry. I'd not believed in voodoo, but being a cautious man, I never take chances. Besides, it had always irritated me that she so seldom cleaned her hairbrush. Why is everyone worrying so? That's what my optimistic, not too bright, naive but lovable little spinster sister said first. Then she said, "They're not doing anything to us, are they?" We were in the garden, and Amanda was too busy pulling weeds and chopping and pruning at bushes and hedges to even care about the monstrous, mile-high figures of the invaders. They'd landed a week ago, in a spaceship 100 miles long, and almost 1,000 of them had come out of that ship and were now walking around. There was panic elsewhere, but they hadn't hurt anybody, nor could we hurt them. They weren't really. There was no substance to them. One of them could step right on you, or on your house, and until he moved on, there was sudden darkness. But that was all. We fought them, of course, shot them, dropped bombs on them and in them. No effect. We tried communication. Nothing. They gave us the attention we'd given Ant. Then I called attention to what the two big figures in sight were doing a mile above us, each of them with a tank-like container in his hands, from which came a vapor that was gradually settling toward Earth. My sister condescendingly glanced, snorted ever so slightly, and went back to her searching among the many bottles and cans, of which all good gardeners have a plentiful and varied supply, and mumbled something about the nice soft giants having fun. She said, "Maybe they're making clouds. Clouds can't hurt us. Why do people worry so?" She found what she was looking for and continued to be busy. I tried to change the subject. "Is that liquid fertilizer you're spraying, Amanda?" She said, "No, it's insecticide." I almost knew, before I really knew, that I was the last one. And when the sun came up this morning, it only served to turn the light on, where there wasn't any need for light anymore. The chain reaction had started about 6 weeks ago, when the world was beautiful and colorful and full of the song of birds. And with every breeze and every change from day to night and night to day, each thing became one more degree different, and there was no new life. The earth around was barren. They withered and fell around me, and I could do nothing. In a very short while, I too would give up. Quit this twisted, disfigured thing I'd become. There was no way to understand what had happened. But we all knew that it was going to happen. As I know that out of our decay might spring another kind, because the earth is still here to hold new things. and the sun doesn't seem to mind. So, whatever is beyond the sun must still be, and must know my last thought, the last thought of the last rose of summer.